Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, Bumbling Biden had a press conference. Bumbling Biden bumbled all over the fucking place and certainly made an embarrassment of himself, but for some reason, the media decided to fillet him harder than Monica Lewinsky did to Bill Clinton. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, close but no cigar.
Indeed. Welcome to Micah the Hatman on Politics, live. Aren't we just the classiest guys? Then again, it wouldn't be Micah and the Hatman if we weren't pushing the envelope in some way or another. Welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to see everyone is here. Before we get started, real quick, you'll notice that the donation goal is different than it usually is. We're not going to be doing cringe this week. Instead, what we're going to be doing is two truths and a lie. So every $15, we will do two truths and a lie, and then the other guy has to basically guess whatever the lie is. And then we're going to rotate. So me, then Hatman, then me, then Hatman. And so it goes. So, we'll let you guys get to know us a little bit better, plus mix it up. You know, we've done cringe for however many weeks in a row. Time for something new. So, let's go ahead and get started with Biden's first presser. So, if you were to read CNN or any other left-wing outlet, what you would see is statements that apparently Joe Biden gave the best press conference ever, and that he cured cancer and everybody walked home with a unicorn and a puppy.
He's nailing this.
Yeah.
God.
Then you watch it, and what you see is a guy who clearly was not ready for this, basically bumbles his way through it. And apparently, according to some photos that were taken, had a pre-approved list of questions and questioners.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a sec. I have to pick up my phone. George Orwell's calling. Yeah. Needless to say, this was a giant fail. And presenting it as anything but is a complete and total fabrication. The fact of the matter is that if Donald Trump had given this press conference, if George W. Bush had given this press conference, if, or Ronald fucking Reagan gave this press conference, the press would be all over it, saying that you should invoke the 25th and get him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Not from the Democrats. Yeah. It's embarrassing, to be honest with you. But I have a hard time,
to say the least.
Yeah. I have a hard time picking what's more embarrassing. Is the conference itself with Biden stumbling all over the fucking place more embarrassing? Or is the press's reaction and attempt to try to cover for him more embarrassing? Because I've even seen people that are on the left that I would say are liberal, not leftist, who like him and voted for him, say that it was embarrassing. You know?
Mm-hmm.
George What's-His-Face, who basically fucked up that Fox News debate, George Wallace, even said it was embarrassing. George Wallace in that debate seemed like he wanted to make out with Biden on the fucking stage. And even he said that it was embarrassing. Sometimes I don't understand why the press thinks that they can just pull the wool over people's eyes here. I genuinely don't get it. I mean, what is the bar exactly?
Chris Wallace is who you're thinking of, by
Chris
the way.
Wallace, my bad. But what is the bar exactly for this? What is the bar? Is the bar him not dying? Is that the level of accomplishment we're looking for? Like him not falling over something like he did on the stairs to Air Force One?
Because of wind.
Yeah.
Because of strong winds.
That'd be some pretty fucking strong wind. You know? My grandfather is his age. And my grandpa didn't have problems like that. You know? So I don't know. I don't get it. But what I will say is that he obviously was not prepared for it. He's obviously being protected. And again, it gave an obvious reason as to why his administration is keeping him out of the public eye as much as possible.
Well, if that's the case, though, then I would say no amount of preparation would make him ready for it. That this demonstrates a fundamental problem with the fact that this guy is in office. Mm-hmm. Like if people were demanding that the 25th Amendment be invoked for Trump because of supposed early onset dementia, does this not also warrant those kind of conversations for Biden?
I know. That's what I would wonder. But consistency, the only consistency you get from the press is that they're inconsistent. So
exactly, consistency does not behoove them.
No. So needless to say, it was a giant mess, sort of like Biden's policies. We'll be talking about the gun control thing a little bit later, but and Hatman will take lead on that one. But ultimately,
oh yes, I have things to say.
Yeah, because the filibuster is actually going to have to become conversation with that, because that's part of the reason they want to get rid of it. But Biden even basically said that he was going to do the Obama thing of taking a pen and do things himself. The problem is that if he does that, he's going to get sued immediately. And that's basically what we've been seeing, is that to stop some of the executive orders that he puts through, he's getting sued rather quickly by Republican groups. And if he tries to do something like basically uniform gun control, I would expect the NRA will probably sue him as well. 2 donations came in real quick. Also, we got 60 people here just at the start of the show. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. By the way, if you're not a subscriber, or check to see if you're still subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Also, hit the bell for alerts, and you'll get an alert on everything. Just make sure that when it asks you to turn on all of them. Daniel Parker throws in $5 and says, the media is covering for Biden's apparent health issues the same way they did for FDR and JFK. It's true. And then Daniel Garza said, folks, glad to see you're up and running. Sorry I've been gone for so long. Happy y'all are doing so well. Hey, Daniel, glad to see that you're here, dude. So, but yeah, I would expect the NRA to sue him. I would expect, or any other gun advocacy group to sue him.
Gun Owners of America, the Shooting Sports Foundation, yeah.
Yeah, like there's more than one, I speak as somebody who is an NRA
quite a number
member,
of them out there.
That I would expect them to, but what we would have to see what happens. But needless to say, just the simple fact that the press was covering for him the way that they did isn't just embarrassing, it's kind of frightening. So Hatman, of the two of us, you are the infamous Redditor. To the point where a now murderer threatened you. Hey Ralph, how's Seattle for Truth doing? But But as somebody who knows what goes on Reddit, tell us a bit about what the fuck happened this week.
So, a bit of background here. There was a post on the UK politics subreddit about a ex-politician, ex-British politician, who had been dismissed from 2 parties on the grounds that she, as a transgender woman, not only hired a pedophile, but married a pedophile. Two separate people, mind you. The first one, convicted of kidnapping, torturing, and raping a 10-year-old. While this individual was... So this post on UK politics gets removed, and the person who posted it got banned. Why? It turns out that Reddit, in their infinite wisdom, had actually hired this ex-UK politician. She was working for the fucking website, and mentioning her name or posting any articles with her name in it was equated with harassment and would get you fucking banned. So what happens? Everyone loses their fucking shit. And in a move that I have not seen since the infamous Reddit revolt of 2015, a good number of subreddits made themselves private to protest this shit. So the response was, okay, Reddit fires this person. And then they tried to claim that, actually, we didn't properly vet her background. We didn't know that she was this terrible fucking person. But in addition to not knowing, we added certain protections for her, including word filtering her fucking name and any sites that featured her name 2 weeks before all this shit went down. So either they didn't know and they are that fucking incompetent, or they knew and they were trying to cover it the fuck up. By the way, she got hired on November 5th of last year, almost 5 fucking months ago.
Jesus.
They had that fucking long. They had that long to figure this out. So, yeah, needless to say, I have several hundred questions.
There's no excuse.
Were the
for
folks
this.
that were banned allowed back on? Yeah. Some people are still banned to this day. Some people are still banned. Yeah, Reddit is fucked. Reddit is a fuck.
We have said, I think, multiple times that the internet is a place that people go to, broken people go to specifically, to try to reinvent themselves. That's part of the reason why vetting is so important, because you might get people that come in that are complete and total psychos, you know, and this is a perfect example of that. And the very idea that they worked for you for almost 6 months and that you had no fucking clue about this shit. Sounds like there's a
I mean,
problem in your
I do
vetting
not,
process.
I don't believe that statement that they didn't know. I frankly do not fucking believe it. I mean, if they were filtering her name, that's one thing. And keep in mind, this person's name, her name is Amy Knight, Aimee Knight. Google it, and like the first results that you find are the articles about her getting kicked out of the fucking Greens and the Liberal Democrats.
Exactly. Okay, real quick, couple
Like the
donations.
first fucking results.
Yeah. Chaos Sonic throws in a buck and
donations.
says, "Hey Reddit in UK, how are the Orwellian ideas now?" And then Servant throws in $5 and says, "Reddit defends an ex-con pedo that they hired. I don't think she's ever been arrested. It was the person that she hired at one point was arrested for it. Streisand Effect is going to go.
Yes.
They're going to dig themselves deeper in response, and Reddit's going to die soon at this rate. People have been saying that Reddit is going to die for the last decade. So, I mean, inevitably
They're
it
not
will,
going to.
but like everything does. But
Yeah, well,
you also have to keep something in mind. Normies. A lot of normies use Reddit. As long as
Yep.
like people go
And
onto Reddit for cats,
here.
you know, like even the the subreddits that I'm subscribed to are all normie shit, you know. Like I don't even subscribe to Kotaku in Action anymore because there's so many spurgs there. But yeah, but Servant throws in another couple bucks and says, "Agree with Hatman, they knew." But needless to say, like this definitely shows that the people at the top of Reddit are idiots. All right, so we've hit $15 already.
Absolutely.
We've hit $15 already, so now we got to do two truths and a lie. Okay, let me think here. I'm gonna pick a theme of weightlifting. So Hatman has seen me lift, but I'm going to keep. These will be specific maxes. So I have deadlifted 700 pounds. I have bench pressed 600 pounds. I have squatted 700 pounds.
That one's hard.
Because you can see me doing all three, right?
I can picture it. Yeah. Fuck. My guess is, well, let's see what chat has to say before I put in my guess. I don't want to influence anything. So looks like they're saying no on deadlifting.
Is that your final answer?
No, that's what chat. No, we have a no on deadlifting and no on bench pressing. Huh. Oh yeah. Looks like consensus so far is deadlifting. I'm going to go with squatting, actually.
It's the bench. I've never benched 500.
It's the bench. Okay.
My max was like 420 something. The bench press has always been
Interesting.
And when I was powerlifting, I never cared about bench press because I didn't powerlift to
Interesting.
compete. I didn't powerlift to compete. I did it for fun. But of those lifts, the legs are much more practical, you know, to build strength there. So yeah, I deadlifted 700. The first time I did it, I was 17, and the 700 pound squat didn't come until college. So, but yeah. I could probably still do 700. I could probably do it a couple of times now that I'm older and stronger. But yeah. No, yeah.
See,
I always hated the bench press. I never liked bench. I never, or rather, I never liked
Yeah,
doing it for max because it makes no sense to have your chest be that big. It actually is not good for your health to have a big chest because it can actually give you sleep apnea. And I already have it, so I didn't want to make it worse. So whenever
I'll
I do
admit,
bench,
I heard the hesitation when you said squat, so that's why I guess squat.
yeah. The funny thing is like, of all three of those lifts, I don't like squats either. I love deadlifting. So, all right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Hatman. Gun control. Go.
Yes. So Fuckface did a thing again.
Of course he did. Fuckface did a thing again several times over the last week.
Fuckface did a thing twice that's in the press. The first time, it's supposedly targeting Asians, which I don't fucking buy, and I love the insinuation that the press and everyone accusing this fuckface of being, a white supremacist, in spite of his own comments, basically amounts to, I am a mind reader.
Yeah.
No, you're not a fucking mind reader. There's a reason why confessions are admissible in court and not circumstantial fucking evidence, you goddamn morons.
Mm-hmm.
Second fuckface, everyone assumed, oh, he was apprehended alive, so must be a white dude. Nope. No, he wasn't. And suddenly the narrative shifted from white supremacist to, we need to do something about assault weapons. As it usually does.
Yeah.
So here we are, face to face, once again, with the possibility of an assault weapons ban. The difference this time being that the Democrats are in control of both chambers of Congress and the presidency, which means that, yes, there is a potential danger at this point. We've got senators like Joe Manchin who have come out straight away and said, no, I don't support this shit. He doesn't support the two bills that were passed in the House that we discussed 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and that basically means they're DOA.
Well, not necessarily. The problem is some Republicans could defect. Just because we have the assumed 51 doesn't mean we have a guaranteed 51.
Yeah, that's true.
So
the one I would be worried about would be Susan Collins.
Yeah. Yep. And therein lies the fucking problem. These could potentially pass. And if that's the case, then we are right back to 1994. The problem, again, is that this isn't enough. Remember, earlier this year, I believe we discussed a bill introduced by Sheila Jackson Lee, which called for licensing, registration, and straight-up ammo bans. It is, I don't know if I could say likely, but we could potentially see something like that happen with the new assault weapons ban. Because, let's be fair, the Democrats are way more zealous this time about getting rid of assault weapons. I would not be the least bit surprised if they struck out a grandfather clause altogether, just because they believe they have the numbers.
Yeah. And again, that's what's going to make the midterms next year so important.
Yo, yeah.
All right, we've got a few donations that came in. Servant throws in $5. Says from his reading of the Second Amendment, gun ownership and knowledge of use and maintenance are mandatory by the wording. Hatman might point out if I missed something. Not mandatory, but strongly suggested. Makes him great again. Throws in $1. Says mentions basically the ethnic background of the shooter. The point is he is fuckface.
Yeah, he's fuckface. We don't care.
Unless it has something to do with the motivations for the shooting, which from what I saw, it's tangible. I don't really care what his background is. We don't want to. Unless it is like an actual act of terrorism and not just a psycho, I'm not gonna give him the anything of even talking about it. He is part of an amorphous blob, as far as I'm concerned. And then Anonymous throws in $3. Says, got a clip for Anime Cringe this week, posted in the Discord. There's a problem. Guess what we're not doing? Read the donation goals. 2 truths and a lie this week. So, though $3 more, and then it's Hatman's turn. So yeah.
This is.
Spudley says elections
balls,
are rigged. No. There's no evidence that the election was rigged. Not to like it wasn't proven. Where this is something that I feel like I need to start a button for, where it's just me saying no, stop. So don't start propagating that bullshit in here. Here's the simple fact. Every single lawsuit and so on and so forth got dropped due to lack of evidence. It's time to let it go. Don't use the fact that Trump lost as an excuse not to vote.
No.
Because then that's what the Democrats want. All right, go ahead, Hatman. I'm sorry.
Miguel Barrera brings up another point, too, that I forgot to mention. The Ninth Circuit Court saying metaphorically screw the Fourth and Second Amendment. Specifically the Second Amendment. Ninth Circuit ruled a couple of days ago that carrying a gun in public is not a right. Concealed or open, not a right, according to them. This is what we're up against. This is bullshit.
Yeah. That will probably go to the Supreme Court.
Oh, absolutely it will. As far as the Fourth Amendment thing, that was Biden. Biden wanted to he basically wanted to petition the Supreme Court to allow cops to search people's homes and take their guns without a warrant.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, that literally is throwing the Fourth Amendment out the window.
Yep. So, fuck it. And you know what? Fuck them.
Yeah. So, not to mention that's an overreach of power from the Ninth Circuit. They can't determine that for the nation. They just they don't have that power. Each state can regulate whether or not there needs to be regulations for concealed carry or public carry or so on and so forth. California does not get to dictate what the rest of the country gets to do with itself. Fuck off.
No.
All right, couple more donations, and then we'll move on to the final topic of the day. Makes him greater and throws in $1. Says, I only said the ethnical background because it flew in the face of the SJWs that it's a white supremacist. He could be without the devil's spit in hell for all I care. Well, fair enough, and I didn't mean to imply that you did. I usually don't bring that into it. Yeah. Serena wants to know, wouldn't these bans on assault weapons be violating the Second Amendment? Wouldn't these bans get them sued? Well, there was an assault weapons ban a long time ago during the Clinton era that fell out. So they can do it. Should they? No. Do I think it violates the Second Amendment? Absolutely. I think that people should be able to carry whatever the fuck they want. I think people should be able to defend their pot fields with their AR-15s with their transgender wife.
Fuck it.
You know. All right. Final one. So, as we've been doing since Biden was elected, because I really felt the necessity to do this, is that we do the last topic of the day is an overall issue and discussing exactly why something in regards to our republic is important, especially because it kind of got brought up earlier with somebody in the chat, you know, basically throwing out voting in general. So, lately we have seen a debate among many people on whether or not more vetting processes should exist for people to be able to vote. Basically to safeguard against any and all types of fraud. Now, there was fraud in this election. I think that there has been more than enough evidence of such. Was there enough fraud to overturn the election? No. And then every case that was made to try to show that it did fell apart due to lack of evidence, or there was testimony, but lack of anything to actually verify that testimony was in fact legitimate. I do think that there will be some interesting things with this Dominion lawsuit against the MyPillow CEO. We'll get more information from that, but and then there are other states that are starting to do another audit of the votes, which is perfectly fine. It's within their rights to do so. But the fact of the matter is that there is a law that is going through that would strip that the Democrats are trying to push through that would strip the states of the ability to do this. And then on top of that, when these states like Arizona are putting in laws to try to lessen fraud, the Democrats are doing everything that they can to try to stop it. They're trying to have it so that people who aren't citizens of the United States can vote in our elections, meaning that anybody from any other country could come over here and vote in our election, which is ridiculous. This is not the world. This is not the United States of the world. This is the United States of America. This is our portion of the American continent, and we have determined that we are a federalist government. And we are the type of republic that we are for that exact reason. Here's something, though, above all things, that needs to be understood, and why I'm very much for every single state holding on to the power that they can when it comes to voting, but also them plugging any sort of loophole to make sure that the elections are not fucked with. It's very simple. Americans died for us to have this. This is part of the reason why I'm not a fan of people, making claims about the election that are stupid or things like that, or that have no bearing, because all it does is it comes across as an attempt to do what Mike Lynn did, to do what was the psycho bitch with the Kraken, who, like, her argument...
Sidney Powell.
Sidney Powell, whose argument in court was nobody would have taken me seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. But there are a lot of people who did, stupidly. But, because the Kraken was a boiled squid, let's be honest. The court documents were fucking hilarious. They were a joke. They came with a red nose on them that if you pinched it, it went honk honk. But anyway, the simple fact is that we went to war over the ability to vote. We can talk about tea, we can talk about this or that. No taxation without representation. We wanted the ability to vote. We wanted the ability to have our to send out representatives to at that point the British. And Spudley, we've already gone over the time thing. That's not what happened. Go back a couple episodes of the podcast, we go over it. But the simple fact is that every time that somebody brings this stuff up, they do an injustice to all the people that fought in the Revolutionary War. They do an injustice to all the people who have fought in every war since then. to protect the rights of Americans. You dishonor every single one of them. Should we do what we can to make sure that our elections stay pure? Yes, because I think that honors their memory, on top of protecting the rights of the citizens. And that is something that we're losing sight of, I think, as a nation, is the importance of voting, is the importance of this specifically. And I think that when you make stupid claims about it, but also you try to block states from having the power to hold elections and federal votes, and to have the system that we've developed so far that has worked better than any other system in the world, all you're doing is you're spitting on the graves of those who have died, and you're doing an injustice not just to them and their memory, but also your own citizens. The fact of the matter is that we should try to maintain the purity of these elections as best we can. If we don't, all we do is we basically might as well make the votes worthless. We might as well make elections worthless. In my opinion, the further that we step away from the ability to determine our own elections, the further we step away from that, the less we defend it, the less American we become. And that is something that I cannot abide by as a citizen of this country. I just can't. It's ridiculous to me. There are places in the world that would kill to have the ability to vote like we can, to have as much representation as we do. We killed for it. At that point, the lack of willingness to stand up for it, all it means is that you're selling out your own country, one way or another. Whether you're trying to act like things were rigged when they weren't, that the current president is illegitimate when that case has not been proven, or you're trying to keep certain states from protecting themselves from the fraud that already happened, the fraud that was actually proven. It's one of the many rights that we're going to have to protect constantly, because there are people that are too willing to throw it away for stupid reasons, one way or the other. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. All right, 2 truths and a lie time. Hatman, it is your turn, and I got to try to guess. What you got?
Let's see. Give me a topic.
Guns. Guns you have fired.
Okay. Guns that I have fired. Okay. Oh, that's an interesting. Okay, so let's see. Okay. I have fired an M1 Garand. I have fired a 45-7 revolver. And I have fired a 410 pistol. Those are the 3 I'm going with.
I'm going to call BS on the M1 Garand.
Okay. See what Chad has to say. Side note, I really, really want a damn M1 Garand, but my God, prices have just skyrocketed on those fucking things.
No, prices have skyrocketed for all weaponry, so...
Yeah, but like you could have gotten an M1 for just like a few $100s like 10 years ago. Like Jeez. Now, the last gun show that I went to, the lowest price one I saw was $1,400.
Jeez. Alrighty, Hatman. Which one was it?
So, let's see. Chat says 410 pistol, revolver, 410 pistols, false. Okay. I did not shoot a 45-70 revolver.
Mm.
I have shot a pistol that it was just a little over-under pistol, basically a Derringer almost. Would shoot 45. I think it was 45 ACP. I don't think it was long Colt, but 45, and it shot 14 shotgun shells. It was called a Snake Slayer. I don't remember who made it, but I did shoot one of those, and I shot the M1 Garand the same day. That was a fun fucking range trip. I will say that. So yeah, looks like majority of y'all got it right. So yes, I did not shoot that big fucking thing. The biggest revolver I shot was a was it a 460? I think it was a 460. That thing was fucking insane. Fucking recoil on that hurt.
All right, let's get to the Q&A here. So, also, I'm going to tell some people in the chat, simmer. I made some strong statements, yeah, but you know I'm not trying to be an asshole about it. Stop spurging out, or Brain's going to put you in timeout. First and last warning.
Yes, this is all for fun, by the way.
Yeah.
We're not doing points or anything on if you guess it right.
So, gonna ask the chat to chill a bit. Chill a bit today. You guys are wound the fuck up.
Chillax.
And when it comes to the voting stuff, we've already had this discussion. You know, the fact of the matter is that in the courts, it was struck down by Trump appointees because A, Trump's legal team was a fucking joke, and B, there just was not sufficient evidence. And the testimonies that they brought in, there was no corroborating evidence. When you don't have those things, guys, you fall apart in the courts. You know? So without that evidence, you're not going to get me talking. I'm not going to start going bonkers like Steven Crowder did at the beginning of the year, which those videos he did ended up being nothing burgers, really. They showed, like, fraud in some areas, loopholes that needed to be closed, but did he make a case that Donald Trump should still be president? No. Just didn't happen. All right, Q&A time.
Let's let that be the last word on it.
Yeah, that's the end. Stop bringing it up. Demon Night Rose wants to know, how can we tell these morons in power that we're fed up and remind them that they're the minority? America is not with them. Vote them out. That's basically it. You know, vote them out. And the other thing that I usually say is that if you have friends that tend to vote for them, but they have problems with these things, remind them that that's what they voted for. You know, so that way they understand that you're not supposed to vote with your emotions. People voting by their emotions alone is something that can be changed culturally. You know? At least I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Rias Khan wants to know, more and more I'm being told by friends and family that that whose head's in the sand because I'm not watching NBC, and it's getting frustrating. How can I deal with it? Because I don't want to lose them. I would say the big thing is because I only watch it for job purposes personally whenever I do. The one thing I always tell people, it's like, hey, politics suck. I'd like to, have fun in my lifetime, not be miserable all the fucking time. And B, if they do want to bring up a topic on it, just talk about the topic and don't be afraid of it. And don't let it get heated. Don't let yourself get heated about it. And if they start to get heated, say, hey, you're getting a little bit heated about this. Why don't we change the subject? So the big thing ultimately in situations like that is you want to come across as the person with the cooler head. Derek Mozzarella wants to know, thoughts on the Trump social media service. Personally, I think it'll just be another echo chamber like Parler and not really go anywhere. I am in complete agreement there. Parler and Gab aren't really going to go anywhere anyway because they have no appeal to the normies. It's all politics, and the whole thing with Parler specifically, somebody did a social experiment on Parler where they did like a typical QAnon post, and then the next day they're like, yeah, that was all bullshit. I was doing this as a social experiment and you guys fell for it. It's like, Get off the internet. There is no plan. Stop it. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
I'll go one further on it and say that it won't last longer than a week, and a week is charitable. There is no way in hell anyone will allow it to be hosted on their service except maybe like Epic. And even then, I don't think any sort of DDoS protection service is going to want to touch it. So It's going to be DDoSed basically for its entire fucking existence. It's going to be forced offline. There's no way it's going to stay up. People do not want Trump on the internet, period. So, no. It's not going to go anywhere.
Servant asks, can we make a list of known rhinos and have it ready for the 2022 election primary so we know who to primary when we have to? Well, that's the thing. Everybody's definition of rhino is going to be a little different. You know, some people, it's like if they vote differently on one thing, then their whole record is tainted. It's sort of like when people tell me that because Mitt Romney is in the Senate, that gun rights are gone. Romney's very anti-gun control. You know, a lot of Republicans that you would that didn't like Trump are very anti-gun control. In fact, some of them are better on guns than Trump was. Some of them even oppose the bump stock ban that Trump put through. You know, so how do you define it? Is the first question. If it's because that's basically going to be it. I'm of the opinion of this: if you want to make a list of people who vote against the basic rights of Americans, go for it. Because those people, Democrat or Republican, should not be in office. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
All right. Has the chat chilled out yet? Because it's time to get some questions from them.
Let's see.
Mine is still trying to catch up.
Well, your chat's trying to catch up?
Yeah, my page is being slow.
Weird. Okay. So Alistair Fulgore asked for a prayer request. It says his town's been obliterated by a fierce tornado and people have lost their homes. A bad situation. Yeah, I heard about that. Like Alabama got hit like twice. Holy fuck. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be praying for you tonight.
Yeah. It came really close to that system from last week came really close to hitting me too. I mean, like, I was literally on the edge of where it hit here in North Carolina. It was scary. So, like, yeah, I don't envy your situation at all, and yeah, absolutely, we will be praying for you.
Absolutely. You know, here in Illinois, there's a town not too far away from me called Washington. It's up near the Peoria area. It's one of their I guess you could call it one of their suburbs. That was like completely decimated by tornadoes like 5 or 6 years ago when I first worked at State Farm ages ago. So, and it was legendary, like how bad the damage was. So
yeah.
All right, let's see here. So John Whitesell's been asking this one a lot. He says, "How do we know the Democrats won't systematically rig every state and local election and Republicans will still be able to win?" Well, it's going to the fact of the matter is that the important thing is keeping power with the states. The reforms that most states are wanting to put through, like what Arizona is wanting to do, you don't have to worry about it. The big thing is on the federal level. I think it's like what, H11, something like that. The important thing is keeping the power out of the Fed. That's the big worry. Because if you give
it's HR1.
HR1, that's what it is. That's the worry. So it's ultimately just making sure that the Senate doesn't vote that in. I don't think they will, but it's fucking frightening. So that's the big worry. State and local, I haven't seen a lot that's going to affect it. I've seen states that are just... I've only seen states that are trying to pass stricter restrictions on voting itself to prevent future fraud. And Democrats are trying to stop those from going through. So, and that's the big thing, is pay attention to what your governors are doing. Let's see here. Leonardo 1 wants to know, what are your favorite 5-minute videos from PragerU?
Oh, God, I don't know.
My favorite is, if we lose John Locke, we lose America. Because it's basically what I've been saying for the last 4 years. Let's see here. Do you not have a pick, Hatman?
Not really, because none of the 5-minute things really stand out to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, most of their 5-minute videos I end up watching when they're fucking ads.
Yeah.
I'll be straight.
V-Raptor wants to know, thoughts on military introducing critical race theory and other such things into training? Has no business in military training whatsoever. Oh, God.
That's right. Fucking SOCOM just hired someone who claimed Trump was a fucking Nazi as their diversity and inclusion officer. Fuck that shit.
The military does not need diversity and inclusion officers. The military needs officers who are going to teach people how to shoot guns and how to fight.
I mean,
that is what they are there for.
I wasn't even in the military, and I still know that they choose the best. Not based on fucking diversity. You don't have a diversity hire in the fucking military. What the hell?
No, they don't care. They're long past the point of caring. This is not 1942.
Jesus Christ.
Like, that is not why we have a military. Like, let's be honest of what we have a military for. We have a military to protect our nation from threats, both domestic and foreign.
Mm-hmm.
I do not need a Marine worried about critical race theory. I do not care for... If a Marine wants to read Ta-Nehisi Coates, they can do it on their own fucking time. My tax dollars go towards the military to train Marines, Army, and Navy to be badasses. People who focus on critical race theory are not badasses.
No. They tend to be bad people.
Yeah. I don't want that. I don't need that. Give me more people that are like Jocko Willink. Give me more people that are like Tim Kennedy. You know, these guys who their attitude towards fighting is get some.
Mm-hmm.
You know, give me the guys that want to fight. If you're worried more about diversity training than fighting, you're doing it wrong. You know? That's part of the reason I have such a respect for the military. Aside from the fact that my father served. You know? It's because I meet guys. The funny part of the reason I love watching the Jocko Willink podcast, I know dudes like that I grew up with, that when they came back from the military, they're just like that. Their attitude towards any challenges, get some. I love it. That's what our military teaches guys, is to win. And I love that attitude. I love it. I absolutely fucking love it. And I don't want our military focused on this fucking bullshit. I want them focused on winning and being the best in the world at what they do. It's funny, I'm wearing a Mossad shirt, right? Israel ain't worried about that shit. You know what Israel worries about? Palestine. That's what they worry about. Palestine. Bombing them. And fighting. And winning. And you want to know who fucking taught them that? We did! Same with the Japanese. Well, not Japanese military, because we're basically the only thing that protects them. But think of all the military influence we have had, and how many badasses came from American influence as well. We have enemies. Our enemies are not these little ideas of how you think the world is racist when it's not. There are people out there that want to kill us. It's a sad truth of the universe. I do not need Marines whining and having blue hair. I need badasses. Fuck off with all that bullshit. Alright, next question. I'm mad now. Got 4 minutes. Black Knight Rex. I haven't seen Black Knight Rex in a little bit, or he's been here and I've missed it. Either way, good to see you. Have you heard about the guy who made guns from scraps to get money from police offering money for guns, who had to pay him since they qualified?
I heard about that.
So he basically
got $200 for
so
each
he
fucking
basically
one.
pulled a Fallout 4, which I'll be talking about in the next podcast, and built weaponry to sell to that's awesome. I want to shake that dude's hand.
He actually demonstrated to the cops that they worked, and they had to buy them off of him. He had 2 of them, $200 each. He used that money to go buy another fucking gun.
I like this guy. Who is this? I want to meet this guy.
Absolute
We need to
fucking hero.
interview this guy. Somebody find him
Hell
for
yes.
me. Someone
Hell yes.
find him for me. And we will try to get him on the show to talk to him about this. I want to talk to this guy. I want to meet him.
It was great. It was great.
Let's see here. Hardboiled says, how long is it likely until Harris does a 25th Amendment on Biden? He blunders so much you think it'll only be a matter of time to preserve competence.
Next year.
That's Hatman's bet. I think it's going to be a little bit longer than that. So, but either way, it will. I'm thinking after that press conference, it will probably happen. I'm more convinced now than I used to be. But then again, as you guys have noticed, I'm very hard to convince. Brian Gilmartin wants to know, how exactly would you encourage people to vote logically rather than emotionally? The one thing that I tell people, and I even said this to my most recent ex, is that I asked her how many times, because she wasn't that much younger than me, so she was in her early 30s. I'm like, how many times has somebody you voted for done something so ridiculously disappointing that you get angry for days? And she goes, all the time. And I'm like, that's why you don't vote with your heart. You vote with your brain. You can't think of it like you're voting for your best friend, because they're not your friend. They're politicians. They suck. What you're voting for, it is literally a douche and a turd sandwich. That's the way you should, and that's what I always tell people. It's like, you need to look at it like that. It's like, you need to, it's not worth getting emotionally invested in, honestly. It's not worth buying into the hype. Ultimately, you got to vote for who is going to do the job better, and you wouldn't hire somebody, it's like you don't hire an employee to be your best friend. If you do, you're doing it wrong. That's how I usually stress it. Because I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't get along with Donald Trump. I voted for him, though. I definitely wouldn't get along with Donald Trump. And some of you guys have seen that publicly. People who do, try to be Trumpy. I don't get along with them in public. I think that they're full of shit. So, let's see here. Oh shit, it's been an hour. Fuck. Alright, guys.
Damn.
We gotta go ahead and bring this podcast to a close, but we have entertainment. Excuse me. And we will be discussing our picks of the week. I actually finally sat down and played a video game, and I had fun, believe it or not. And we'll also be talking about 6 Days in Fallujah, and on top of that, we'll also be talking about, or Fallujah rather. On top of that, we will also be talking about, I forget what the other thing was. We'll get there, though. So stick around. We'll be having some fun. Brain will be getting the overflow questions, so if you did not get a question answered during the course of the podcast, please let him know. No double dipping. And then hopefully we can try to get a some stuff done with Overflow this week. Maybe even a live stream too. So I definitely want to get back into streaming. That's for sure. All right, folks. Let's go ahead and bring this to a close. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, and I've got a Suicide Squad trailer to watch.
Yes, you do. But until then, we'll see you soon. Days full.